Hello, I'm Mandalay Bay and I'm about to show you a level entry king size room. This is really what you get without any particular upgrades. And I think it's important, and a level entry room, it's important to know what it's like. I'll show you. It's on the 30th floor, by the way, and it's 307. Now, it's really interesting, isn't it, that everything looks very relative, I've already stayed several days here in Vegas, and, my impression of this room obviously has been influenced by my previous days, depending on where I was. I've been at Mandalay Bay many times, and I have stayed in much better rooms, much better rooms. This is a lovely room, and all in all, as you can see, it's a lovely room. Right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's really lovely. Rooms that are better than this, I don't go with names because they change all the time. They have a bigger window, much bigger, sometimes double that. And obviously they're bigger, larger rooms with a sitting area as well. And they weren't studios, they were just like bigger rooms. Now, as I said, it's very well appointed. But one thing that I notice immediately, it's the lack of storage space. Depending how many days you stay, and how many of you there are, it might be a little bit limiting. Considering that this is a fridge, you don't want to open that. You only have really 3 drawers, which are big, deep, but they're not that many. If there's 2 of you, and then you have a small drawer on one side and on the other side of the bed. And then, of course, there's the luggage area, but just a minute. Here you've got the desk. I do like, with a decent ergonomic chair, I do like the fact that it's not facing a wall. The TV, I'll tell you all about it when I've used it, which is part of the addendum at the end of this video. And then you have a charging station, which is nicely located next to the desk. So it's well thought through, no doubt. I don't have a strip view. This time I didn't even try. I don't try to get strip views. I don't really mind about that. But I'll show you. I have a view of the pool area, which is nice when it's all lit up, And so as you can see, it's a lovely pool area. And one section it's open, even if it's winter 2019. Can you see this section that's open? On the top left, can you see the small area that's open? So the big one, the waves, the one that's called the beach, it's completely closed. So remember that when you book in winter time. And also the lazy river is completely dried out. It's closed too. So, you don't get any of that, and all the other pool areas are closed. So there's only that one over there, which is kind of small for me. But I'm going to show you the pool area later on, okay? Oh, and then there's, of course, the party pool area, but it's very detached from. And, of course, you're going to get a lovely view. Oh, look, there's my hand. Oh, it's hazy. It's hazy. Otherwise, I was going to show you some other interesting resorts, but I can't. The sun really shines through. Okay, so I'm going to now show you one thing that I don't like about Mandalay Bay level entry rooms is that, but that's really on the fussy side, okay? First, it's that you've got the bathroom off the main room. So, right by the bed, really. And it's a lovely bathroom with a bathtub and shower, but in the past, when I stayed in rooms like these at Mandalay Bay, they used to have a TV there, but they don't have it anymore. How sad. And then the shower with a nice shower head, but we have to see. I have to tell you all about the water pressure later on, okay? Okay. Vanity mirror. It's nice, it's nicely appointed. Have you noticed now that they give you much fewer shampoos? Basically, because, theoretically up to 2 people don't incur any extra charge. So theoretically there are 2 people per room. They used to give you so many shampoos, conditioner, and lotion, but now it's just 1, as if you're sharing it. Of course, you can ask for more. Okay. And of course, the toilet area is separate, which is nice. There you go. So it's a lovely room. It's very well appointed, very, very well appointed. But, you know, come from MGM Grand, for example, it feels a little small. But luckily, it's very light in terms of colors. They're beige based. Therefore, it doesn't feel too cramped. But it doesn't feel as bright as I used to remember Mandalay Bay rooms to be, you know. There's just not enough window for my personal taste. I like it when it's all big window, wall to wall, bigger than this. I know you may say, well, how much bigger do you want? But the room is relatively small, so that's it, you know. And another thing I don't like is connecting rooms. I'm getting a connecting room today. I sometimes ask for non-connecting, but occasionally, first of all, I'm extremely tired. I'll tell you all about the things that I did in order not to pay exorbitant prices. Because yesterday and the day before there was a major convention and the rooms were about $500-600 a night. So in order to avoid paying that, because I didn't want to leave Vegas, well, in order to avoid paying that, I had to do some incredible things, and that made me very tired. So there you go. Really, nothing fancy. It's really for, you know, MGM. This is pretty basic, really. This is as, look, relatively speaking, it's as low as you can get at Mandalay Bay, okay? Unless you are on a lower floor, and that means you don't even get any type of view. But this is it. Now, the resort fee is pretty high, but I'll tell you all about that on top-buffet.com. It's always high with the MGM group, except for marginally, except for, you know, the cheaper resorts like Excalibur. But, you know, it's just high. You're just going to have to bite the bullet. I don't know why it's not cheaper in winter when you've got half of the amenities that are closed. But we just accept it. You know, we're still coming, right? If people stopped coming, then maybe they would do something to attract us here, which, I don't know, could be maybe lowering the resort fee. I don't know. But we keep coming, so they know. They get us, right? I have to show you now the luggage area. Again, you know, may have to ask for another rack. Okay. You have to be very tall to hang this. Look at it. Look at it. I'll show you. I'm quite tall, believe you me. This is quite interesting, eh? Oh, just a minute. You're out of focus. There you go, right? Look at it. This is, I barely reach. That's really, really, really funny. What happens if you can't reach? Oh, and the safe, although it's upright and I like that, is so narrow. Barely. You put a laptop here. I don't even know if mine fits. And then a couple of things, and there you go. But at least it's standing, though it's really tiny. What's up with these tiny safes? They don't want us to put anything in the safe. Okay, this one is a bit lower, thankfully, in terms of rack, but that's it. Really, space is something that is missing here. I feel a little cramped compared to where I was and compared to another room that I stayed at here at Mandalay Bay. But I mean, you get to see what you get, right? And I'm here so-called comped, through my gaming, not through my Vegas. But if you come through my Vegas, you're going to get the level entry anyway, so you might as well look at this one very thoroughly. Of course, you could get the 2-queen bed, so it's going to be laid out a little different. This is a 1-king. Now, stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you about the Wi-Fi, and I'm going to tell you about the TV, and then I will probably have a separate video about the pool area and, of course, the buffet and anything else that I can think is appropriate and different, if it is, in 2019, because now it's 2019. Actually, I wanted to add before the addendum that I compared this room to MGM Grand just because I recently came from it, but it was an unfair comparison because I was not in a level entry room. I think the level entry room, well, no. I know the level entry room at MGM Grand is the Petite King, and the Petite King is very small and quite dark too. So it's not really fair to compare at all, the two. I mean, for a level entry room, this is pretty good, don't you think? So I think, yeah, I had to be fair. I thought about it and I wanted you to have all the information. Having said that, you know, I moved a few things and I find dirt under the objects, and that's not supposed to happen in a place like Mandalay Bay. Look, you see dirt, dirt, and a little bit more dirt underneath. I don't know if you see that. That grosses me out. But there you go. So it's not perfect. It's not all perfect in paradise. It's not. It looks really, really clean, but there was a bit of hair on the bed, but it's not perfectly clean. But you can live with it, I suppose. Okay. So I phoned for a luggage rack at least half an hour ago. Anyway, so I know that it may sound petty, but I'm here waiting in the room. I'm desperate to go eat, but the buffet is now closing. And I'm waiting. Bell desk has already arrived and gone. I'm waiting, and I'm staring. I can't even unpack because I haven't got the rack. So then I phoned again after half an hour, and I said, I've been waiting for half an hour. Can I have somebody bring me the luggage rack? And the lady said, I don't think it's been half an hour. And I wanted to say, yeah, that's right. It's probably 45 minutes. Nonetheless, she says, I put it under the wrong code. Okay. It's like, all right. I mean, little things like this, be prepared. The only annoying thing is that you kind of feel obliged to give them a tip. And if you leave the room and they put the luggage rack inside, that you're not going to be able to give them a tip. Because even if you leave the money on the floor, they're just not going to pick it up rightfully. So are you kind of stuck in the room? So my suggestion to you is this. If you are in a rush, absolutely do not ask housekeeping for anything unless you have time to stay in the room. Whatever you need, go eat first, do whatever you need to do first, and then when you're in the room and you can wait, then you ask for whatever it is that you need. Okay. So this is it's getting better. Sometimes things are not going to work, right? So finally, I have the luggage rack. But look, they didn't even bother to check if it worked. And I kind of assumed that it was okay, but it's broken. So I'm stuck in this room waiting for the rack because I feel like I have to. Well, at this point, the buffet is closed. And here I am. You see, the difference between Bellagio and anywhere else, Wynn, the really high-end ones, is that there is really good customer service. In my opinion, once you go below the very, very top, things like these happen, and they're no fun. So as I said, do not ask for anything unless you're prepared and willing to wait forever in the room. Okay. Okay, so I'm afraid this connecting room is quite noisy because this connecting doorway, it's really not soundproofed at all. It's very cheaply done, and I was woken up just because the couple next door, I think they just checked in and they were a bit agitated. So I was woken up by that. But if it happens again, I'll show you. Okay, so I just wanted to explain something a little bit more whilst I'm waiting for yet another luggage rack. Hopefully this one will be not broken. The customer service here, check-in was great, bell desk was fine, but I wouldn't call customer service here any better than, at a budget hotel. In my experience, things like this just don't happen in a really high-end resort, and this supposedly should be. But clearly it isn't. So I met a lovely lady. I was eating at the Aria buffet, and she was saying she was staying at the Aria resort. And she was saying how impressed she was by the room. She actually had upgraded herself to a suite. So she was telling me how wonderful it was, and that she thought that was the very best in Vegas. And I thought, well, it probably is the very best in Vegas. It doesn't come much better than that, really. And so she said, what is the difference between like the very, very, very best and something like this? Now, I have never had a problem with Aria customer service personally, so my answer is going to be generic. As I said earlier, the difference is customer service. The very, 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 very top end, like Encore, Wynn, and maybe Bellagio. Maybe. But now Bellagio are coming up with offers, and you've got M Life. You know, I mean, My Vegas, I meant, so things might be a little different. You know, with My Vegas, people comp themselves to rooms, you know. It's no longer that super exclusive place. Nonetheless, my customer service at Bellagio has always been good, in my opinion. Really good. I mean, I've had problems, but they rectify them very well. And they didn't make you feel like you were a pain, right? Here it kind of like, oh, you know, she's a pain. And it's like, well, no, I just want a luggage rack. But I would expect that the very, very top will have impeccable customer service. That's one of the things you pay for. Unfortunately, the rest, it's just hit and miss, you know? You'd expect that that everything would be checked and double-checked and triple-checked, that everything would go well, especially because you're tipping left, right, and center. But it doesn't really work that way. So you gotta really be prepared. Check your safe, that it works. When you have time to wait for things, check your safe that it works, that it's got battery, you know, that it's fully charged, that you've got your luggage racks, that you don't have anything missing. And if you have all of that, if you have a problem, then if you need to eat, go eat first, and then when you're in the room, you ask for all those things that you've got missing. Otherwise, you might be doing what I'm doing now. It's been an hour and a half waiting in the room, all in all, and I am still starving, and I have missed my buffet, because here they've got a break between lunch and dinner. Anyway, I'm gonna tell you all about it when I finally get to the buffet. And so this is it, you know, so just you have to, especially if you're not staying for long, if you're staying for 2 or 3 days, you've got to really think that not everything is going to go down well. I mean, it may, but if it doesn't, you know, use your time wisely. Don't do what I'm doing now, waiting around. If I could go back, I would just go eat and then come back and deal with the rest, you know. So that's my advice. Now I'm telling you about the TV and the Wi-Fi. Okay, so the new assigned room, you have to. I think if I made it up, I couldn't make it up this good. So this is room 232, which is non-connecting, but it's way smaller. And although I asked for any room that's not close to any service area, because, you know, it can get busy, this is it. This is the service elevator right next to it. Right next to it, the service elevator, right? This is where I've been assigned. I haven't been assigned here, which is what a good customer service would do, like a suite. In the good old days, if you had a problem, they would actually give you a much better room. But here, actually, I've been downgraded. I've been punished. Oh, this is Mandalay Bay nightmare. Okay, so this is even worse because this room is even smaller. It really is a small room. It's as small as European-style rooms, really. And I don't even like it in that it's similar to the other one in terms of decor, but there are changes, and the changes or differences are actually making it worse. So, look. For example, I mean, if you remember, the other room had a nicer glass desk in this area because this area was bigger. It really is smaller. The whole thing is very cramped. If you are from North America, if you're from Europe, you'll find it acceptable. If you are from North America, you will find this room a bit small. It kind of reminds me of the Petite King at MGM Grand. In terms of size, it really is quite tiny, really. You know, as Las Vegas rooms go, it's okay. Now, I didn't tell you. I told you that the noise from the airport is just a faint background. But in the day, actually, when there were lots of planes, certain planes, I could hear them very, very well from that room. And this one, being a different wing, but not facing a different section, because let's not forget, this is the weekend, and it's Friday night. And so it's not that they had a lot of rooms available. I can just hear the service elevator's noise right now, right? Isn't that amazing that they actually did that? And I even asked, because I didn't want to bother moving. But if it was going to be a less a trade-off that wasn't really to my advantage. But I asked, is it close? Okay, never mind. Okay, so the bathroom is the same, roughly. It feels a little different because it's obviously, the layout is opposite, juxtaposed, but it's really very much the same. The bathroom is nice, there's nothing wrong with it. So this is it, and the toilet area is the same as the other one, really. So this is it, it's just the size, the fact that, yes, it is non-connecting, at least, but you got the room from the service elevators that slam the doors all the time. It's just so funny, it's just so funny. I'm not angry, I'm just like, I'm furious, but at the same time, I just think it's hilarious, right? And it's good because it in a way, it confirms what I think, that Mandalay Bay customer service is practically non-existent. Okay, so this is it, okay? And I will let you know, in terms of TV, if there are any changes. I mean, the bed, if it's better, but I doubt it, really. It's clean, just like the other one, nothing. Oh no, you've got to see this one. Okay, this is it, another Mandalay Bay special. The other room had it worked out because it had a slightly larger area here. But this room, look, this is what I say about plugs and sockets. There are no sockets, plugs, wall plugs or anything like that in this area at all. None, not even one. But what they thought was funny was to place this, which in the other room you could turn on, see? But there are bulbs, it's nothing wrong with it per se, but the thing is, it's not plugged in, can you see? And it isn't not plugged in because, they unplugged it for cleaning. It's because there are no plugs and it doesn't reach here. And even if it did, look, can you see? Oh my God, can you see it at all? I'm just gonna do it this way. There aren't any plugs available. So I might actually, if I want this on, I may actually have to use my own multi-plug, which I bring with me. Okay, so I did give you an overview, and I'm waiting now to be moved again. You know what this reminds me of? I know some of you will think she's such a fussy person. She's an whatever, like I really like to sleep at night. And, sometimes I would gamble all night long because of the recycling. I tell you all about it on top-buffet.com. But I'm not feeling too well, and I do want to sleep at least from 2 o'clock onwards in the morning, from 2 to at least 8. And I can't. Last night I was woken up at about that time from the noise, and here, being next to the service elevator, the bell desk elevator, I can hear them slamming to open the doors, and they have to do that because they've got these big carts, right? And so I'm going to be moved again, but I'm mainly leaving only because of the service elevator, and I heard it slammed twice already, and it's going to be this case in the morning, it's going to be this case late at night, whenever people check in and out. So, yeah, I mean, to be honest, I had an experience like this once at Rio. I think my friend and I changed rooms 5 times, and I don't remember what the problem was. I think it was smoking. There were some people smoking next door or something like that. I can't remember really. You're going to have to look for that video. And the other time was at Excalibur. But at that point, I had my friend. He was very strong. And we actually got them to change the smoke, to move the smokers, somewhere else. They shouldn't even have smoked in that corridor. But at that point, that was when they were very lax with smoking rules. I mean, you were not supposed to smoke in the room, but people did, and nobody cared. In certain hotels, clearly not at Wynn, okay? Or maybe Bellagio, but, in other resorts, it just was whatever. Nobody cared, really. They didn't want to bother with the problem. But now, first of all, there are fewer smokers. At least it feels that way. And secondly, they're much stricter with regards to smoking. So I haven't had any problem at all of any. I usually stay in the room. I'm not particularly fussy about the view. I've become less fussy about those things, but I do like to sleep from about 2, 3 in the morning onwards. I do like some peace and quiet. So there you go. And I think I have been strict about this room because I came from the other room that was bigger. But, I know you guys from Europe will think, oh my God, it's wonderful. What are you talking about? Have you seen the shoe boxes we're staying in? Look at it very well because I'm going to leave it hopefully very soon. And, now I kind of feel sad. kind of feel sad. Oh my Lord, you know, the things. And moving, I mean, when you move, at least the bell desk has been very fast. I have not had a problem with bell desk here. In fact, almost anywhere really. I'm going to feel bad now because I finished all my ones. I'm going to have to leave $5 tip. Okay, so, and the next room will be in a different wing, so hopefully I can show you something different, you know. Well, let's take a look at it, okay? Fingers crossed. Okay, this is getting better. I mean, the new room, it's as poxy as the other one, small and nothing really. And I had the impression as I was walking along the corridor, this was a smoking corridor, which I cannot tolerate, but it gets better. This is not, because you can't smell it, but I can. But this is what I found. I opened the drawer. I wish I found tons of money, but no, I found dirty clothes. Look, this is what I found. Socks, and look. So it wasn't, this is how they clean the rooms these days. This is Mandalay Bay, guys. The drawers stink of smoke too. Okay, now I'm really close to losing my temper. Really close. Because I'm tired. I can't believe it. I can't believe it, guys. This is Mandalay Bay. This is what it's coming down to, okay? I don't know what to say. Okay, let's see what happens. So I'm just going to take a video of what I found. You know, it does smell of smoke, but it isn't the smell necessarily. It's just that the air clearly it's not fresh. And, well, it's funny, they don't open drawers, huh? But I never found money, though, eh? I never found money. I guess it's in the safe. I should check the safe, right? Anyway, if you do, you have to hand it, of course, you got absolutely hand it over. But the whole room doesn't smell fresh at all. Okay, so what they told me, for your information, and I hope to God that you do not have to change rooms because, especially during weekends, if they are not customer-oriented, as they're clearly not here, it's a nightmare, and it doesn't get better. It gets worse, you know. I've been in non-connecting rooms at Bellagio, and they were fine. They're absolutely beautiful, fine, you know. But, you know, there are problems in hotels. You know, they're not all perfect. And sometimes the room is not being serviced well. Sometimes things are broken, and they haven't checked them very well. You know, it happens, so be prepared. I just hope it doesn't happen to you because you have a choice. If you have a busy schedule, you accept it. Accept it because you know that it might not get better. Or you don't accept and you hope that you're going to get a better room. But, you know, as I said, I was at MGM Grand and I had absolutely zero issues. And then I even went to Gold Coast and I had absolutely zero issues. And I went to a couple of other places, zero issues. This is the first time that I'm having problems. And the problem is because they just can't get themselves to actually give me a decent room that they are really sure of, you know. They just give me whatever. And then this is what happens. And it's, you know, if they have a lot of average rooms or mediocre rooms, then you get a mediocre room. And I am beginning to see that Mandalay Bay has a lot of small, mediocre rooms. My experience of Mandalay Bay rooms was a lot better in the past. Maybe I was given suites, you know. I thought that they were level entry rooms, believe it or not, or things have changed. But nonetheless, I am just seeing a lot of small, mediocre rooms. Of course, the amenities are good, and the fact that they have a 24-hour cardio room, which I probably don't need tonight, is also a plus. But I'm telling you all about the pluses and minuses on top-buffet.com. So I even asked them to be sent to the original room. I was that desperate. It's not, if it were my last night, I would put up with it, but it's not my last night, so I would like something decent. But I think by the looks of things, I don't know if it's going to happen on this trip at Mandalay Bay. Okay, so let's see what happens. I'm really sorry for the bell desk people that they have to do this extra work. You know, I wish I could just. In other resorts, they give you basically your own original key and the new key, and then you can keep both keys for an X amount of time, say half an hour, so you can move yourself. And also you can see the room. Because if I had been allowed to see the room, I wouldn't have wasted all this time. But they don't. They have this ridiculous system whereby you just have to check out. And you can't even see the new room because the elevators won't work because you have to key it in. And it's all ridiculously complicated, these measures that apparently they have implemented after the tragedy that you might be aware of, the terrible tragedy. But to me, these measures do not suggest that they're gonna actually save lives, because I don't think it was that the criminal. I don't think the issue that he was changing rooms and he kept one key and the other key at the same time. I think there were much bigger safety reasons and issues than that. So, okay, so my downgrading experience continues, but this is going to be it because I'm exhausted, and I'm just going to say, okay, well, at least I got a lot of videos for you guys. I'm on the 58th floor, 1110. Actually, before that one, I was given a room on the 7th floor, but I don't have a video to show you because it had not a real window. It had a window, but it was overlooking some sort of, I don't know how to explain it. It looked like scaffolding, but it wasn't scaffolding. But you couldn't really see out, and that's just no way. So I said no, and I went downstairs personally, and I explained, and so they gave me this room. So it's for people on wheelchair. I don't really know, and I'll show you why. Well, first of all, you only have one armchair. So I presume this would be for, a wheelchair or similar. And, so as I said, first of all, you only have one armchair. But it looks like it's for wheelchair guests because you have hangers low, and you have the safe, which is also low, and again here, low, and a smaller door to the bathroom, so maybe there's a reason why it's just the one door. Help me out here because I can't think about it. But then again, these tops are quite high, so I don't really know. But right now, I don't want to see another Mandalay Bay member of personnel. The gentleman I saw downstairs, I had to go downstairs, was nice enough. So yes, it works. It was unplugged, but it works. So this is it. 58th floor. You'd expect something grander than that, right? Anyway, so I will show you the so-called view. It's not much of it. It's still not a strip view, but it's just a different view from the one I showed you at the beginning. And now, the carpet, it's really not in the best condition. Anyway, as I said to you, it's been good because I have been this way, so-called allowed to show you what is there, because in the past I showed you nice Mandalay Bay rooms. I don't even know if they exist anymore. They looked more like suites, so obviously at that time I was upgraded. In the good old days when they had really excellent customer service, and my gaming level was the same, has always been the same, so it's not depending on that. Sometimes you get upgraded for free. You get, it's not going to happen on a Friday night, late at night. Forget about that. And that's, if this had happened, say, on a Tuesday, I probably would have had a much better room, so bear that in mind. So if you want free upgrades, I doubt that it's going to happen on a weekend. But I was actually willing to pay for an upgrade, But at this point, I'm so exhausted. Bear it all in mind. Don't expect luxury just because it's supposedly a semi-luxurious resort. I don't think this is the case anymore. There are too many signs that suggest to me that things are not as they used to. You see, beware, because you're going to get a lot of cold from this. You see, these read, for fresh air, ventilation, push. It reads here, like this. This is what it reads, for fresh air, ventilation, push. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work, because although if you push it, it really comes up, and if you pull it, it should completely shut off. But there is still a huge amount of ventilation coming from the outside, and the same with that, in that section there, which means that if it's summer, you're going to have a lot of heat coming through regardless of the air conditioning. And if it's winter, you're going to have a lot of cold coming through regardless of the heating. And in fact, I have the heating at maximum, and it just doesn't, it can't. It's not strong enough. It's still quite cold in here. But I'm not changing rooms anymore. I am really tired. And I'm just going to wrap this up as a bad experience, And as I said, it will at least have allowed me to show you that if you book Mandalay Bay, don't necessarily expect luxury. Now, I want to show you something interesting because it wasn't an issue before because the other rooms did not have this huge draft that I showed you earlier. I didn't even check, but now I want to show you something, okay? There is no way of changing the fan strength, and this is very weak. It cannot, I mean, I have it at 26, but it cannot heat up the room. It's freezing cold because it's winter, right? I mean, it's not 26 degrees Celsius. I mean, it really is freezing. This is what I've set it to, but it just can't get anywhere near that, not even at 22, I think. So, and it's constantly on low. There's nothing you can do to change it. So let's say that it's in the middle of the heat, super hot summer. It's in the middle of summer, it's super hot. And of course, you've got this draft, which in the summer will be boiling hot. And this air conditioning system here, unit, cannot be strong enough, and it's set on low, fixed. Then you're going to be super hot in this room. So I don't know if towards the end, in the upcoming months, Mandalay Bay may decide to upgrade its rooms. But so far, it's pretty shabby. It's pretty... all the rooms I've been in, except for the first one, have been in need of upgrade in one way or another. And I want to show you, this is my not next door neighbor, thankfully. Can you imagine that I had this guy next to me? So there you go. Well, if they put up with that, then I can have my ambience music, right? But luckily, as you can see, I'm not really next door. At least that. However, look, in terms of wheelchair accessible, you see, you've got this buzzer here. So I think it is wheelchair accessible. It's just that the keyhole has not been lowered. But I wanted to show you oh, look at this. Isn't this funny? There's a bra here. Somebody had a bit of a joke. Okay, this is what I wanted to show you. Just a minute. I'm running around in my gym clothes. Frankly, it's not my idea of fun, but yes, here we go. See, look at it, right? This is not even, I think this is worse than MGM Grand. MGM Grand is not anywhere in this sorry state. This is 2019, okay? 2019. I don't want you to mix it up with other better reviews in the past. Again, look at it. Sorry state. Some of these elevators don't work, by the way. And it rests on former glory that I think is long gone. Oh, by the way, this is the new view. Full-on airport view, but sideways you get to see the strip as well. But the noise is what it is. And this room is the strongest so far, and I'll hear it, and you'll hear it when the plane is actually taking off. But it has to be obviously a larger plane, but nonetheless, I can hear all of them because of what's happening here. That there's this gap, so the noise and all sorts of noise comes through quite strongly, as well as the cold wind. Can you hear me? I'm getting a cold. Well, if you're into planes, let me tell you, if you've got kids and they like to see planes taking off and landing, this is probably a good view. Oh, and look at this, this is another one. This is another beauty. This failed wheel, right there. It's been like this for years and years. I mean, there was supposed to be something and there never was. In fact, the whole plot, can you see the whole lot is for sale? There's a for sale sign at the bottom. We are pretty much in the middle of nowhere, but if you follow the route to the convention center and so forth, and you end up at the end and you get out, there are, some affordable eating options for those of you who have lost it all.
Or for those of you who are, don't like to be, who like a good deal. So you can find, subs and all that, but away from any concession within the resort. So obviously the prices are going to be a lot cheaper. But those of you who are staying in that wing, which presumably, Friday night, by the time I actually got to this room, it was so late. There was none left. There were none left. But let me tell you, that's just the one wing. That's one. This is the second best view that you're gonna get, and then all the others do not have a strip view. They have either the pool view, as I showed you, which is practical, and I think one wing you have a full-on mountain view, which is, I think for me, it would be the nicest. But from my experience, it would have been the nicest. I've stayed in that wing before. But if you're into strip views, you're going to have to check into that particular side of the Mandalay wing, and being one of 6, you might have to, you might be lucky depending on when you check in, how early it is, not over the weekend, or you're going to have to pay for the upgrade. Depends, really. If you want good deals, avoid the weekend. That's really a rule of thumb. Can you hear it? Can you hear it? Did you hear the plane? Don't even know which one it was. But we really are away from it all, right? It's always been a problem for this resort. It wasn't the case in the good old days when its target market was affluent Asian guests. It was lovely. Those were the days, I'm telling you. It's not even that long ago. Not like 110, It was lovely. That was the time to stay at Mandalay Bay. Since then, they've changed target market. They don't have that anymore, so they changed, and customer service gone down the drains, in my opinion. And also, can you hear the plane again? Oh yeah, can you hear it? Can you see it and hear it? This one is a bit noisier. It's constant. It could be eventually a bit annoying, actually. I slept fine because by the time I actually gave up and slept in this room, I was so sleepy. I don't think even a party would have woken me up, which is kind of ironic, really. Okay, so what I was saying is, since then, the clientele at Mandalay Bay, it blows my mind. I mean, yesterday, it was weekend. The weekend changes a bit. I mean, quote unquote, normal people. You'll see more of normal people, quote unquote, Monday to Thursday, Sunday night to Thursday. And the weekend is always a bit of a nightmare. And if I can, to be honest with you, I stay off strip during the weekend. But even there, or I stay, or you stay somewhere like Wynn, but it's expensive during the weekend. But sometimes it's well worth it, Sometimes it's well worth it. Sometimes it's worth paying more staying in a really good resort like Wynn or Angkor. Wynn in particular. And in the winter, because in the summer they also have a beach with Angkor, and last time I was there, it was just thumping. Well, that's the target now. It's partiers, right? But Wynn is it's very classy. Or Bellagio, I suppose. And as I say, MGM Grand, my experience wasn't bad either. But the weekend I would stay away because of all the various clubs. It's just, So, yeah, I mean, the clientele is very, very different now here. Very, very, very different. I mean, just don't count the pennies, though. It's not worth it. To save $30 to spend a lot more just because you're far out, unless you have a car, of course, which sometimes it's highly recommended. And you have to wait for Uber or taxis and this and that. Taxis are expensive. Some of them don't even know where to go. I had an experience, I got on a cab and I wanted to go downtown, and I said Plaza. And I didn't know where it was. I swear to God, I didn't know where it was. And I was actually in a rush too. So this was now, 2019. So I don't know what's going on, But that's obviously a small anomaly. Nonetheless, bear that in mind. You know, if you have a car and you have a little bit of time and you've never seen Vegas before, besides, you know, the usual tourist traps, you might want to go and see places like the Red Rock Canyon, you know, besides the big Grand Canyon. And, you know, how people live in the areas, you know, the residents. It's quite fascinating at the bottom of these desert mountains. It is a beautiful experience, one that I think is strongly overlooked. But I really like it. It actually it forms my best memories of Vegas. Actually, seeing the mountains, driving through the mountains, see how people live, you know, at the bottom of these mountains, at the feet of the mountains, and it really is beautiful. Red Rock Canyon, of course, Grand Canyon, which is obviously very, very visited. But there are other areas besides the Grand Canyon which are spectacular. And I talk a little bit about it on top-buffet.com, like alternative places to visit. If you are here 4 or 5 days only, then I understand you may not have time. But, you know, if you stay here a bit longer, rent a car and if you've never seen this area before, it's well worth going. When I arrived, the mountains had snow on top. It was quite beautiful. You had the pink of the mountains at certain times of the day and then the snow on top. So it was really, really, really beautiful. There you go. A little bit of spirituality. Because I'm really high up, right? It helps. You see, when you get to see the mountains like that, and of course, a bit of the strip, at night it's nice, but in the day, just so beautiful. Those mountains like that, right? There you go. Aren't they lovely? I mean, really, take in a bit of the natural beauty if you can, besides the gambling and all the rest. The beauty around it, it's just stunning. Stunning.
And by the way, all of these plugs here in this room, none of them, the ones attached to the lamp, none of them are working. I don't know, they're not just loose, that's not major issue, but they don't seem to be working. So bear that in mind as well. And bring your own extension cord with multi-plugs always. Something that I do for the budget resorts, but this, I never expected I had to do it in Mandalay Bay, but I guess it's one of the many things that don't work in the many neglected rooms of Mandalay Bay.
Hi, so the TV, the channels, very responsive. The remote is very responsive. The channels can be changed very, very easily, very, very fast. The TV is good quality per se. The sounds are good, but the channels showing are poor. There aren't that many. There are just a few, and mostly it's just sports. And I'm talking about North American sports, okay? If you're into sports, yeah, you got plenty of channels. If you're not, I'm telling you, and I'll tell you the whole story of what happened on top-buffet.com. But at the motel I checked in Phoenix, I had more channels there. Many more channels. It really sometimes is quite astonishing how much more you get in an affordable motel than in this so-called quote-unquote luxurious hotel, which I think in many ways it's luxurious in terms of looks, but not really necessarily in terms of the way it's built, say for example the lack of soundproofing, or in terms of what you actually really get, because you would expect in this hotel to have like 200 fantastic channels. And I had that, I remember, again at Angkor, a huge amount of channels. Okay, final update, I hope. Well, first of all, this bed was actually better than the first bed in the slightly nicer room that I had before, the very first one I was assigned. And I've actually enjoyed my time in this wheelchair-accessible room on the 58th floor. Non-connecting. It's been so quiet here. I could hear people slamming their doors. For some reason, mine doesn't slam, but besides that, it's been so pleasantly
quiet, except for the rumbling of the planes. I've forgotten about those.
One thing that you might want to know is that the water pressure in this room, this 58th floor room, is fabulous. I really enjoyed it, much better than the water pressure at MGM Grand, which was quite risible, really. And I also liked the base of the bottom of this shower, you know, really, really nice. And in terms of size, it's really fine. So I went up the chain, quite very, very up actually. Wrote what I think is a nice letter, and I was very lucky. I received an immediate reply the next day by phone, and we talked about the situation, and the lady whom I spoke to was very professional, finally. Oh, but as you know, if you've seen this saga, you know that I met 2 nice people, and the rest were pretty useless. Three of them pretty horrible, actually. And finally, this lady who is part of management organized a few things for me, which I appreciate. And also wanted to show you her tea gift, which is nice, you know. As it happens, I don't need hot water, as you well know. Why? Why? Because I got my own little kettle here. Isn't it cute? I carry it around because I'm not going to pay high prices for this. So I carry this. I know you think it's cheap, but you know, it gives me great pleasure in the evening to have my hot chamomile tea or whatever it is that I want. Okay, so that was sweet. You've got lemon wedges, creamer, lots of nice honey containers. I'm sorry, I've got a massive cold. I apologize. And various types of teas, including the organic peppermint tea. And can you see it? Yeah, there you go. Oops. Organic peppermint tea and Earl Grey and so forth. So that was very sweet. I appreciate that. So, well, you know, this is what I mean, right? Little gestures and also bigger gestures that kind of don't wipe out our experience because they make us weary next time. I mean, you know what to do, right? And I really think they have to know the rooms perfectly so that they don't make you pack and then you're stranded in the middle of nowhere not knowing where to go because you get one worse room after the next. That is not acceptable. I really cannot stress that enough. You know, in other resorts and previously, you used to be able to check the room, you know, and I even said, can you give me the room number? But you can't even move these days without entering your key, which may sound like a good security measure, but in my opinion, it doesn't really solve the problems that created the big tragedy that took place here some time ago, as you all well know. And if you're European, ask me and I'll tell you about it. So that's my opinion. But anyway, so this is it. This is it. So I just wanted to say, I mean, as you can see, I say everything. You know, if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. And then you make up your own mind. Okay, guys. See you on top-buffet.com. Now, I have a very short little video of a mega suite here at Mandalay Bay. I don't know if to put it at the end of this video or in a separate video. So stay tuned, just in case. And the point, finally, this is what I really... Well, you can tell me if I'm being unreasonable, but the point that I've been trying to make, really, is why didn't you give me this room from the beginning? This is not a suite, you know. I'm not asking for a luscious upgrade. This is the same room, only it's quiet. You know, it's tucked away up on the 58th floor. Yes, it seems to be a wheelchair accessible, but clearly they have them available. And, you know, I am sure they had better rooms than those poxy rooms that I was assigned earlier, all with defects, one or the other. And then you didn't see the one on the 7th floor. I couldn't. I just walked in and walked out, the one with practically no window, okay? Why didn't you give this room to me from the beginning? This is the big question. Why is it that
you have to inconvenience your guests so much, almost punish them for daring to want to sleep at 2:30 in the morning, or daring to want to change the room because something is not acceptable in that room. I mean, they're not totally free, are they? It's just, why is it? And I think it really does depend on who you talk to. But unfortunately, between say level entry customer service, except for a couple of people, as I said, the gentleman I talked to at 2:30 in the morning, but all the others were totally unhelpful and unprofessional, actually. So why is it that you downgrade and seem to punish your guests for wanting to change rooms? I mean, you have them available. We know that. So it really is a big question here, a big question. I don't know if it's policy or if it's just an unfortunate chain of events, a lack of information, lack of awareness. What I mean is like not knowing which room they are, but you must know. Even the bell desk guys knew. They told me from the beginning, oh, you sure you want to go to that room? But by that time, I had my luggage packed on a trolley, because that's what they do here in Mandalay Bay. So it really is horrific, a horrific experience. I cannot stress it enough. You know, I mean, one thing is to see a small little clip with me blabbing on, and one thing is to have your bags packed on Friday night, and you don't even know if you're actually going to get a room you can think of sleeping in. And the one with the cigarette butt smelled like smoke, and I'm not a smoker, and it really bothers me. So what's going on? I don't know. So the lady I spoke to, who trying to make it up to me somehow, she was nice, but I wonder, is it real policy to not be particularly nice to guests that are not just accepting everything? I wonder. And I don't even know if it's just Mandalay Bay. It may just be an MGM thing. I don't know. But this has been a horrific experience, and I don't understand why they didn't give me a room like this or better from the very, very beginning. I just thought of a potential reason. I'm sorry I'm showing you my messy bed, but I can't show you anything else. It's a mess everywhere here. I'm checking out tomorrow morning. The last time, out of desperation, and I was also practically homeless, you know, like literally in corridors and my luggage tucked away somewhere in depot, I actually ended up going downstairs to front desk, and that's when I got this room. The other failures happened whilst I was talking to guest services over the phone. So my advice to you from my experience is that you speak face-to-face with front desk, because the likelihood of you, when you actually are going to be assigned a room, when you explain face-to-face, because face-to-face has a different power, Over the phone, they don't care, they don't know you, they don't see you, they can't wait to get you off the phone. That's the impression I got. And they really just throw a number. They don't think about, oh, what's this room like? I don't know, was it in the room number 1 in the depot where the luggage is, or where the rats are living? Yeah, let's give her that one. I don't know, it's a number. That's kind of the impression I had. But when you speak face-to-face, I spoke face-to-face to somebody, and then that gentleman spoke to the manager, the supervisor of front desk, and then he immediately gave me this room. I didn't even speak to him. So that's when things got resolved. So my advice to you again is to do it face to face. If you have a genuine issue, if things are just not working out, or as I say, just don't change rooms. But you know, eventually, I mean, this has been a really unique experience. You know, I mean, usually if you change room, I mean, it's unlikely you're going to get a worse one, is it? Well, this is the suite that everybody wants to stay in if you're staying at Mandalay Bay. I actually stayed in suites like this, but here in Mandalay Bay in the good old days, but never with this strip view, actually. I wasn't good enough of a guest. I just wanted to show you. This is exactly the same floor where I am. So obviously, being a suite, you've got not just windows on that side, which is where my view is, but also here. And that's where the strip view is. But you can't have it unless you have a suite. Do you understand that? Because regular rooms either are facing this side
or the opposite side. See? I stayed in a suite very much like this, Mandalay Bay, in the good old days when they upgraded you because they liked you, because gambling was valued. I mean, even having said that, it's not like super high-end furniture or anything like that, as you can see, right? The view is lovely. You see, that would be my view from my room, and then there is the view from the other side. I mean, I'll show you. But this is the view that you get from the suite. And you got your little mini bar. I mean, this is ideal for groups. I don't think it's necessarily romantic. Okay, now on top-buffet.com I tell you much more about not only the resort, the feel of the resort, if it's a resort that it's right for you, but also other tips and tricks of all kinds, and of course all about buffets, the best buffets for desserts, for seafood and so forth, but also the most affordable buffets, but that are also good.